Hello everyone. Today we're looking at the problem largest prime from consecutive prime sum, which is question 2 in a weekly contest for 79. So the question reads that we're given an integer n. We want to return the largest prime number less than or equal to n that can be expressed as the sum of one or more consecutive prime numbers starting from 2. And if no such number exists, we want to return 0. So this description is kind of a mouthful, but let's look at an example and see exactly what this is saying. Let's look at the first example here. So here our input is n, which is going to be equal to 20, and our output is 17. And it's 17 because if we start adding up consecutive prime numbers under this n, the largest that we could potentially get is 17. The first prime number would be 2. Right? So 2 plus nothing is just 2. Then we're going to add the next prime in the consecutive prime sequence. So the next prime number is 3. So 2 plus 3 would equal 5. Then the next primes after that would be 5, right? So if we add 2, 3, and 5, we would get 10. But the largest we could do is adding that 7 as well and getting 17, right? So we take these 4 consecutive primes that occur one after each other, and add them up. 17 is the largest that we could get. So you might be thinking, couldn't we also add 11 onto here, since that would be the next prime? But if we did that, our value would be 28, which is larger than n. So see, really what we're trying to do here is just keep adding up primes lower than a certain value and see what the largest number that we can get from doing that is. So this problem does seem a little bit tricky if you don't know a certain technique. So let's think of what a naive solution might look like. Well, we want to find the largest number, right? So what if we start at the largest number? So let's start at 20. Well, we know that 20 is not prime, right? We want to find the largest prime number. So let's keep going down until we find one that actually is prime. Right, so the next number would be 19, which is a prime number. So how do we see if we could actually make this from numbers less than or equal to our n, right? So what we could do is, let's say we start at the beginning. So we start at 2, let's just add up the prime numbers. So we know we saw 2, let's add the next prime, which is 3, the next which is 5, the next which is 7, right? So here we got up to 17. Which is not quite equal to our 19. I mean, we could try to add another 11 on as well, which is the next prime in the sequence, but here we have 28, right? So that doesn't work. So let's cross this out. Let's next try 18. Well, 18 is not prime, so we'll skip that. Now let's try 17, and we can try again. Let's add 2 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7, and here we do find our 17, right? So we can make this number from consecutive primes, and we can just return it. However, you might see a potential problem with this solution. Say our n was something like 50,000, but the largest number that we could make is something really small, right? We would have to essentially try each of these numbers, and for each number, we would have to go through every other prime and add them all up. So this is a pretty inefficient algorithm and a pretty inefficient way to do this, right? Because for every number, we have to go through all of the primes under it. So it's basically an O of n squared algorithm. Let's think of a better way to do this. So we're going to use a technique called the sieve of Eratosthenes, which is a pretty common technique when dealing with prime numbers. So essentially, what we're doing here is we're using this technique to pre-compute all the prime numbers that we have. So let's walk through and see exactly how this works. So you see here, I just made the sieve up to number 17. This will go basically as high as your n value, but just for our example, I made it up to 17 for right now. And what we're going to do is start with all of these numbers, assuming that they are prime numbers until proven otherwise. So what are we going to do? We're going to start with 2. And what we're going to do is we are going to, for every multiple of 2, we're going to mark it as false. So let's start at 2. We leave this as true because this is prime. Then what we're going to do is say, let's make this false, make this false, make this false. Okay, so now we've crossed off every multiple of 2. And why did we do this? Well, we know that if we take this 2 and we multiply it, right, all the multiples of 2 are no longer prime because we could take 2 multiply it by some number, which means that these numbers can't be prime anymore. Let's do the same thing for 3. So 3 is prime. So now let's continue past. So 6 we already marked. 9 is not prime. 12 is marked. 15, not prime. So now we skip over 4, right? Because 4 we've already marked. So let's go to 5. So 5 remains prime. 10 is not prime. 15 is not prime. So at this point, we can stop our example, and you'll see what we've ended up with is that only the prime numbers here are still marked as true. So now we can access prime numbers in constant time. So how does this actually help us? Well, we can use this to solve this problem and build up potential candidates that we can then return. So we're going to have 2 variables. Let's have our current, which is going to be 0, and then our largest, which is also going to be 0. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep track of the largest prime that we've seen so far. So let's go through. So let's say we start at 2. We know that based on our problem, we're going to start our consecutive prime sequence at 2. Let's add 2 to our current. Now what we want to do is say, okay, is our current value prime? Well, we can check here in constant time and see that it is. So this is now the largest prime number that we've been able to find. So we're going to update our largest as well. Again, we're going to go over to our next prime, which is 3. We can add that to our current. And then again, we're going to say, okay, is this new value prime? Well, it is right here. So what we can do is then update our largest as well to 5. Now we're going to add our next prime as well, which is 5 here. So is this prime? Well, no, it's actually not, right? So in this case, we have added on a prime number, but this value is not actually prime, right? This is 10, and we can make that with 2 times 5. So we're not going to update our largest here. Then we're going to continue on. So our next value is 7. So we're going to add our 7, and we check, is this prime? Well, it is. So now we can update our largest value to 17. So we could continue from here, but any other value that we generate from here is going to be larger than our n. So essentially, we would just stop our algorithm at this point. And the largest prime value that we have seen is 17. Essentially, what we did is we did this pre-computation with the sieve in order to avoid all these repeated computations later. Our first iteration of this, we were starting at the top and then checking every prime number underneath to see if we got to that value. But here, if we just know all the prime values, then we can just start adding them up. And whenever the sum is a prime number, we'll just record that value and finally return it at the end. So what is the time complexity here? So when we use a sieve, it's a bit complicated and probably something you should just memorize, but it's O of n log of log n, right? So there are formal proofs online for why exactly this is. I would recommend going and reading some of those. I won't go into that in this video. So to generate our sieve, we would have O of n log n, and then to actually go through and find that value would be O of n, right? Because we're just going through that sieve value one time and adding up our prime numbers. So we could cross out our O of n since this is our smaller factor here and just consider this sieve complexity to be our final time complexity of the problem. Our space would be O of n, right? Because when we're actually solving this problem, we have to store the prime values for every value up until n. So we're just going to say that it's O of n because basically for every value that we have under n, we need to store whether it is prime or not. Let's look at the code and see exactly how this works. So the first thing I do here is I generate my sieve. And you'll see that I actually do this outside of this solution class. I don't think it's an issue for this problem, but I have seen some other problems where when you try to generate it, for each example, for each solution class, we do run out of memory or have time complexity issues. So I found that taking it outside and just doing it one time is can be more efficient. The drawback of that is that we are generating the entire range here. So you see I even added some extra room. So we're generating 60,000 values, which we probably will not use every single time. This is just a trade-off we have to consider. So to actually generate the sieve, we start at 2 and go up to the length of the sieve. And then what we're going to do is for every value in this range, we are going to go through all of its multiples and we're going to mark those as false, meaning that these are not prime. Let's take the example of 2, right? We're starting at 2, and then for 2, we're going to go to all its multiples, so I times 2, and then for everything up to the length of the sieve, we're going to mark it as false and then increment by I, right? So this would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, or if our I is 3, it'd be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, etc. And then we're just going to fill out that entire sieve and know which values are prime or not. Then the actual algorithm is fairly simple. So we have our largest and current value. We're going to iterate through all of the values in our sieve. If the value we're looking at, this I value, is prime, we're going to add it onto our current value. If our current ever is bigger than n, we're just going to break at this point because we know that we only want values that are under or equal to n. So if we ever get larger, we're just going to stop our algorithm. Otherwise, if our current value is also prime, this means that we have found a sum which is prime from all consecutive prime numbers. So let's record it and make sure that it is the largest one. Finally, at the end, we just return the largest value that we found. Let's submit and make sure that it works. And it does work. Hope this was helpful and made sense. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.